right, hello everyone. So I want to talk to you a little bit about R.java files in this video. So it's going to be some general information about the R.java file that you really ought to know about. So this R.java file is an auto-generated file by Android Studio. Now you know there are two parts of the Android Studio application project. First one is an XML file. Second one is the Java file. Now we do all of the design over on the XML file, and all the designs we made in XML file is then translated into Java code by Android Studio. That way we don't have to write things twice, right? So Android Studio gives an ID to every component that you've designed in the XML file. And then these IDs are kept in the R.java file. These IDs can be used on the Java side to perform any action on your XML files. So now we'll go to Android Studio, and you can see here the project files, XML design side, as well as the main activity on the Java side. All right, so first I just want to show you where this R.java file lives. So I'm going to choose Project option on the left-hand side of Android Studio. Now this R file is respectively under the My First Application folder, App folder, Build folder, Intermediates folder, the Compile and Runtime folder, and of course the Debug folder. So if you've been paying attention, there is an R.jar zip file. Now, we actually can just unzip this file. So for this, I'll right-click on this R.jar file and select Show in Explorer as my option, or the option Open in Explorer. And I'll just unzip this file. So right-click on the R file, select Extract Here as your option. All right, so as you can see, two folders named Android X and COM have now been extracted. And let's expand this COM folder and company folder. All right, so under the My First Application folder, there is the R class. Now at this stage, I would like to point out that the R file can be found in different places in different Android versions. So this file path might just change over time. However, you don't actually need to know where that R file is. You know why? Because we'll never use this file anyway. The reason, though, that I do want to show you this is because now you're going to know the Android component ID relationship. Scared you for a second there, huh? Just kidding. Now, what you have to do, though, in addition, is run your application at least once for the build folder to be created, right? So when you run your application, the build folder will be created automatically. All right, so now that we know that, we can continue to this. So opening up the R file, you're going to see it's generated automatically. So even if you delete this file, Android Studio will generate it again. You're not going to be able to get rid of it, really. All right, so you see that right here, it should not be modified by hand. All right, so for example, so this is our main activity, and its name is activity_main.xml. So we define this XML file on the Java side as r.layout.activity_main. Right, so activity_main is its ID. And you can actually see this ID in the R file. As you can see here, there are different classes, right? And from here, I just want to find the layout class. All right, so here is the layout class. And notice that an ID is assigned for activity_main, right? Yeah, so this procedure actually is for every XML file under the res folder. So if I go back to Android project file, Well, now you're going to see everything under the res folder, such as the drawable folder, map folder, layout folder, values folder. Okay, so now, for example, we have a text view in here, and now I will give it an ID for this particular text view. Its ID is denim, and you can give any ID you want. But now you see this text view is an XML file, and you can see its XML codes in the text section. And now I will call this text view on the Java side. First, I will define this text view here. I will give a name to this text view. The name is the text that I gave, but you can give it any name you want. And after that, I will call this text inside the onCreate method, and I will call it from the R file. So I'll write here r.id.denim, and it is now identified. So I can do any operation on this text view using the text name. I can change its background color or its text color or its text size using Java code. We call the activity layout using the same method. For example, if I write here r.layout, it will call XML files under the layout folder. Also, if I write r.string, it will call strings inside the string XML file. So what do you think? I think this is enough for the R file in this particular video. See you in the next one.